أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. So it's halfway through Ramadan and the full moon in Scorpio. And usually I take advantage of the full and the new moon to update my altar. And I'm going to do that today, even though I could not find a reasonable position for the phone to record where you could also see the altar very well. So bear with me on that. I'm just going to talk through some of the steps and stages and a little bit about some details again about keeping an altar, and I hope that it will be meaningful. So I'm going to reverse my camera, if they let me do that while I'm talking. Apparently they don't. So, isn't that interesting? Things you learn when you're trying to do a Patreon page. Okay, so that seems to work well enough. So the first thing is to remove the items that are there. I don't have to do this in any particular order, but live in a place where there's dust. So when I take the items off and I place them on a sofa, if I feel like they're dusty, I will dust them. And it doesn't matter what order I take them off, because for me, I follow intuitively a placement of the items as I put them back, and each 2 weeks or once a month, it's different, and I let that flow as it does naturally, because for me, as I said, the energy with regard to the masculine and feminine is important, and the relationship between certain elements and items is important, and I try to experience what my intuition tells me should be the placement of these various items as I make the change each month. I should probably add that I am a Libra, which is an air sign, and I have a stellium of planets, 5 of them, in Libra. And the next most prominent sign for me is Sagittarius, which is a fire sign. I'm removing a cover that was given to me by one person in my recent trip to South Africa, and I am replacing it with a cover that was given to me by another person when I was in South Africa. And sometimes I choose a color of the cover based on secondary concerns or interests that have come up. So for example, sometimes when the moon is about to go into a fire sign, I'll choose a bright yellow and orange cover that I have from my own purchases. And sometimes I feel more like calming blue, and maybe when it's in a water sign. I say all this because I had started to say that I have a lot of fire in my chart because my moon and Mars are in Sagittarius, a fire sign. So I have a certain feeling about change, especially since it's in Sagittarius, my Mars and Moon, I love change. And so the idea with regard to the altar is that there is what you call a living altar. So I'm going to start this time with water, my shells, just in case, you haven't seen those before. All of these, which I actually collected myself, including these lovely little sand dollars, which took me quite something to move here from Malaysia, where I found them. The living altar is something that is daily updated and usually contains flowers. For me, the closest that I get to simulate that is that I pick blossoms every day. These are very aromatic. They have a really lovely smell to them. And I keep them replenished daily. I include a picture of my sheikh. And I want to talk a little bit about images and Islam and Islamic interpretations. Most people have pictures, of their children or something, their dad or, someone in their home. And, most, you don't think much of it. I'm pretty stringent about not wanting to have iconography in my house. So the artwork that I choose is usually without any images of animals and people. And for some reason my cloth has some irregularities to such an extent that poor dragon doesn't want to stand up, so maybe we'll move her to the front. I especially never have anything with images in the direction towards Qibla. And the thing about Qibla is, that's the direction of prayer. And if there was something like that in that direction, I would feel that would be not properly appreciating the oneness of Allah. However, I don't have that image so strict when it comes to the altar, because sometimes I've had my mom or my dad, who are both already in their return to the beloved, sometimes I have my sister, who has also returned to the beloved, and whom I see as a spirit guide, because she was so wise, and in the last days of her life, I experienced with her a tremendous sense of her wisdom, and I feel very blessed to have been in her company. But some people worry about, why do people have pictures of their sheikh? And it's just one of those things where if you feel like it brings you some joy and some remembrance, then go for it. If, on the other hand, you feel like having a picture of someone violates the integrity of, how you see your Islam, then don't do it. So there's no single rule about, whether or not you put it there. But in some traditions, the ancestors are our own silsila, our own chain. They bring us back to our heritage, showing the ways that those before us have made it possible for us to be alive. And in the case of being African American, this is also something that's pretty sensitive because my ancestors were people who were enslaved in the Americas. And so honoring the ancestors who made it possible for me to be alive is really important. There are a few little tidbits on my altar that I did explain to you when I did my explanation before. And previously, the last month or so, I've had a picture of my children. All of them are just the two eldest because we have experienced some transitions, and I wanted to highlight that relationship as being one in transition. This candle that I'm putting on there is obviously the element of fire, but it will not stay on the altar. Usually what I do is I have those small teal candles that will burn for 3-4 hours depending on the quality. And when I do a transition or I do a cleansing in the house, I will burn the candles in various rooms because of the properties of fire, which is purification and also fertilization and integration. So in the forest, actually the dead trees help to fertilize the soil, causing the reproduction of new growth in a healthier way. So I have run out of those, and under the lockdown, I don't have an opportunity to go out to the IKEAs and get some more, so I used this big one, which was a gift from a friend, and I'm missing the opportunity to go and replenish. So now I'm going to show you close up what has manifest. Just talk a little bit about the elements again. Here I do have a combination of feminine and masculine. Anything circular, the dragon I mentioned is masculine. This is the money part of the altar, or prosperity. Prosperity can be material things or wealth of being in so many other ways. And the 3 colored stones are supposed to be conducive to that. I have actual money here, but they say you should keep the money hidden. Coincidentally, one of the bills that I have here is from Nepal that has an elephant on it, which is also my spirit animal, so especially love to have that one there. That white folded thing in the back is some dried flowers from a spiritual healer that I saw, who gave me a prayer to recite for long life and health. The tree, the baobab tree, obviously all the baobab trees in the places where I have it are for the feminine. It turned out that both Allah in the Declaration of Faith and the Jewish and Christian heritage, this being from my Celtic background, my Irish blood, they came to cradle the middle with the water. Obviously, the sphere is and the purple or lavender are both feminine. The things for success in relationships in dual is here, and Kuan Yin is in front of the sheikh, and the elephant is having a lot of trouble standing up, and these 2 stone properties, crystals and the like, are masculine, and they're in the front. So you see, I do a balance between the yin and the yang, the Jamal and the Jalal, and I let them play out as they play out, and then I observe the ways of balance that seem to organically occur between the different elements, as well as the archetypal reflections. So that's it for now, and I'm going to leave the candle burning for at least an hour. And happy full moon in Scorpio.